I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully not too long from now.
So that was a fucking lie. Anyway, for the last 1.5, maybe 2 weeks, I've been learning 3D modeling in Blender, because some of my friends were learning Unreal, and I was tagging along, but it turns out we're all useless, fucking sacks of shit, and we should all die. So I decided it's time to learn how to make 3D games in Unity. Anyway, this is my first 3D project, let's go. So first things first, let's make a new Unity project in 3D.
Row, fight the power.
Now let's call it something professional. Perfect. Like all great games, the first step is... Wait a minute. Something's missing.
I love the kind of woman that will actually just kill me.
Now we have a bean with glasses and a couple of cubes. Let's make this bean move. Only one problem. I don't know how to do 3D movement, so we seem to be in a bit of a pickle here. Well, I give up, it's too hard. The game's pretty much done anyway, so download link in the description, like, subscribe, see you in 7 months. Merely joking. It's research time.
Of course, just like with first-person controllers.
After 20 minutes, I have acquired the knowledge of the universe and have become too powerful. First things first, we need to set up the camera. I'm gonna make it a third-person game so I can flex my 3D modeling skills later. Now the next step, face the direction you press relative to the camera and add force in that direction, which with my newfound knowledge, should be a piece of cake. After a bit of code magic, it now works perfectly. Wait. Well, it's completely f***ed. After a bit more magic, it now works, and we can move around. Now for the most important mechanic in any game is the jump. It's important to make it feel good and realistic, while also being snappy and responsive and giving the player a sense of power. Nailed it. Now, if you look real closely, enhance. The game looks fucking dog shit. So let's make it not. First step, add post-processing. There we go, much better. Next, I think it's time to switch up the player, since the game probably isn't gonna be about a fucking pasty jelly bean. Or is it? It isn't. So let's make a new character. I don't know how to rig a character yet, so I'm gonna make a really low effort character so that I can get a handle of it now, and later when I actually put more effort into the design, I'll have more of an idea of what to do and I won't fuck it up as much. After about 2 minutes, made this little ball boy, and he looks a little bland, so let's give him some personality. Well, that was a fucking mistake. Alright, this is gonna be the first time I import a model from Blender. Let's get him in. So apparently lights from Blender are imported into Unity as well. You can just delete them within Unity, so it's no big deal. Alright, after fucking around with it for a little bit, I have an idea of what's going on now. So I think we're ready to make the actual player model, which I kind of completely forgot to record because I'm a dumb c***, but here it is. Wait, don't look. It's finished, I swear. After a little bit more work, this is what the model looks like. Now the model looks good, but there's one problem. The model is extremely high poly. Now you might be asking, well, why is that a problem? If you're a dirty peasant. For starters, your computer will have a fucking stroke trying to run this in conjunction with a bunch of other shit in the game. But Rose, I have a NVIDIA GTX 50D's RT Ligma, so my computer will run this no problem.
Shut up, bitch.
If you let me continue, rude cunt. High poly models are also really hard to animate in texture. In fact, it's nearly impossible. Or at least with the skill that I have right now. Alright then, what's the solution? Well, I have to do something called retopologizing, which you can either do manually, which is basically drawing squares all over the surface of the model, which can take a bit of time, or you can use a program to do it automatically. The only catch is, the programs that do it automatically, you have to pay a bit of money to get a good result from it, so this leaves us with a decision to make. So either learn how to retopologize manually, or spend some money and be lazy. Let's run that bad boy, and now we have some clean topology we can start rigging. And it's all f***ed. The clothes are f***ed, the underarm area is f***ed. GG boys. Pack it in, and no matter how hard I try to fix it, I just cannot get it to work. And then I spent fucking hours trying to fix it, and then it didn't even go to the other side, which is just giving me AIDS. And it still looks like shit. At this point, it's literally just easier to restart from scratch. So I basically lost 2 days of work, but it's all good. I learned a lot, so it was worth it. Anyway, I just remade the model in like half the time, since I didn't have to learn anything new since I already learnt it from the last model, so it wasn't really a big deal after all. And this model's fucked in its own unique ways. I made him into a T-pose, which made it harder to judge his arm proportions, and now they're like completely fucked. Which means I'm gonna have to remake this model as well at some point, but I've been modeling for the past 4 days, and I just want a change of pace. Alright, now it's in the game. So now we can just slap the model onto the player object and disable the old character, and now that should be good. Ew. Alright, I've decided to keep the old hitbox so that we don't fall through the fucking world. Just quickly, to counter the arm proportion problem, I literally just shortened the bones and that seems to do the trick. And just for fun, I made him into a ragdoll, and it's broken for some reason. Oh well, good enough for me. Man's just vibing out, I guess. Now, just for fun, let's watch him fall off of shit. Wait, what's this? Coming out of nowhere! Bring up the high performance action replay. It seems Homeboy has been clobbered by a gigantic purple cock. That's brutal! Anyway, the game still looks a little bit bland, so I found a free anime cell shader thingy online and gave that a good old yoink. After fucking around with it, the game looks a bit more stylized. Now we can watch an anime shaded guy fall off of a cube. Oh fuck, man scene god. I also fucked around with inverse kinematics. Well, I think this is inverse kinematics. I don't know if it counts because it's only one bone, but I did have a thought that maybe I could animate the character completely procedurally. Then I thought a bit more about it and I was like, fuck that. So I went online to Mixamo and yoinked some animations from there. It's really fun to just click around on the animations and watch our character move around. The long arms kind of fuck up the animations, but bruh, this guy would make a pretty good boxer. I mean, look at his reach. Now the animations are in, and as per usual, I nailed it on the first go. And as per usual, I nailed it on the first go. And as per usual, I nailed it on the first go. Sake. But I did eventually figure it out. With all these animations now, my code was getting absolutely shafted and very hard to use. And I had to write stupid code like if PM movement.isGrounded and movement.rb.velocity equals new vector 000 and p anim state it.inair and check that we weren't walking either. And that's only one if statement in a sea of many similar. And if you know anything about coding, you know this is absolutely fucking cancer. But fear not, I remember watching a video about how to get around if statement hell. The video was talking about a concept called state machines. Anyway, basically the idea is that you separate a bunch of code into functions and only call the functions that are necessary through the state machine. For example, you shouldn't be able to crouch or jump when you're in the air, unless you're playing TF2 or you have a double jump, which makes it so that every state has its own controller technically. And it's very easy to make changes because everything is so isolated, making it very scalable and cool and stuff. Anyway, I also added sliding. Only one problem. You can't stop. Anyway, at this point we've got some cool mechanics in the game, but there's nothing to do. So let's add an enemy into the game. It should be something basic and won't be very technical to code. How about a... Alright, it's decided. Let's model this bad boy. It's literally just a circle cut in half. Slap some eyes on there, and you're done. Apply the cell shader, and it looks pretty good. Let's have a look at it in game. Oh, that's odd. Alright, now let's program the AI. It'll have 3 states: idle, chasing, and attacking. Should be easy enough. So to chase, it'll just use pathfinding to find a way to your location. To attack, it'll literally just launch itself at you.
Oh, that should work.
And when it doesn't have a target, it just moves around randomly. Now we have an enemy to destroy, but we have nothing to destroy it with. Currently, the combat in this game looks like this, which I don't see an issue with, but, you know, it could be better. So let's add a sword and a new attack animation. It might be cool to have a bunch of attack animations, kind of like Smash. Might be a lot of effort though, so who knows. I also added a trail to the sword. Actually, on second thought, the sword doesn't need a trail. I added some camera shake when you get a hit, and also a damage counter to make it feel more epic. The game is actually sort of coming together, and the movement is actually really fun, despite it being fucking broken. cool. We've got enough mechanics to actually turn it into a game. Because I actually want to release something for you guys to play, I started to make a new level. The idea is to just make a dungeon, because dungeons are cool. So I made a room, used a free texture on Google Images, and lit the room. But if you look, most of the lights aren't actually producing any light. The reason is because your computer uses quite a lot of power to simulate real-time lighting. So the workaround is that you have to bake the lighting onto the textures. Then I realized that making a full dungeon will take a lot of effort, and instead I'm just gonna make an arena because that's probably easier to make. It's just one area with enemies just spawning in. So I got to work. Then I thought a little bit more and realized an arena with only one enemy is kind of boring, so I'm gonna do that next devlog. So I'm just gonna end it here. If you liked the video, hit subscribe, like, sug my nuts, and I'll see you next time.